Good, great. So see, it kind of creates this high level overview of your achievements. Like if you're teaching an upper intermediate class, I think it's very good introductory activity. It kind of, it kind of makes the students like, wow, we are given the best teacher ever. But I actually make sure that I'm not the best teacher at all. And this, as I said, can lead us to a very timely and important discussion about why the chatbots are like that. Why are they people pleasers? Why they're sycophantic? Why they always say amazing things about us? And what does this mean for our interactions with the chatbots? Thank
So,
you.
what really makes a leader?
So
Sorry,
yeah,
I
sure, go
if
ahead.
I could ask a question just briefly. If you were to compare the two, the two extensions, let's say, which one do you find better? The Chrome extension or the other one?
I think they serve like different purposes. A notebook LM is very good for study and it generates information in different modalities. It can create a mind map, an audio and video, and then you can keep chatting with it. Brisk teaching is good for generating like short activities, right? So it really depends on how you want to use it. Also, if you're creating a podcast with the free version, by the way, I am not paying for any of those tools, and I make it clear to my students I don't pay for any of the tools. So I don't want you to feel that I'm privileged. No, all of those tools are completely free. So with the free version, you can only create a podcast of up to 3 or 4 minutes, I think, right? So they serve different purposes, Ayub. But another activity is I use ChatGPT to generate a short text about the newcomers to Toronto, some of their challenges, and then I used the extension to quickly create a podcast or like a mini quiz. It's really great for formative assessment, like nothing too serious. It takes less than a minute. Of course, you have to go and check the questions, right? But I think it's great for formative assessment. Let's say you're working on a text, vocabulary, and then want to like give them a quick formative tasks. I think this is great for that. um, at the beginning of the semester, we learn, we start with a particular topic. For example, talking about admirable people. So I give them the prompts, and they go to ChatGPT or their favorite bot, and they start to kind of recycle that vocabulary. But and they can also use it for ideation, right? To get ideas. However, my favorite task with my learners at the beginning of the semester, especially when they are still not that confident, they are like a little bit shy, I ask them to go to the chatbot and or different chatbots and kind of create images of an admirable person from their home country, and that creates a very healthy discussion about why is this person looking like that? Why does the bot think that people from my country look like that? And here I tested it with a short prompt of creating an image of English as an additional language learner in Ontario, Canada, and then we started talking about their ideas. Like I created a forum, and then we had a classroom discussion about why do you think the chatbot thinks that this is the, I don't know, the average or the common or the most common way that students look. It certainly I may not be the case, right? So I start early and I kind of scaffold their understanding, and I scaffold their own literacy. There is a post activity when I ask them to kind of reflect in in a discussion board. I ask them to think about their experiences. I ask them to think about if they can trust the chatbot for image. I ask them to compare chatbots, right? Um, Another idea that I use with my classes is creating an anecdote. Anecdotes can be tricky. I don't know in your context, but my context is very diverse. I teach students who are from all over the world. So what one person finds funny may be offensive to like another person, right? And I wanted to test how well the chatbot can do that. So I sent them the prompt and I said, you are a newcomer to Canada who's studying English at an Ontario college. Your classmates are from different countries and cultural backgrounds. Create an anecdote to share with your classmates that they will find funny. And let me show you what it came back with. So for those of you who don't know, double double is the most popular type of coffee in Canada. It means 2 cream and 2 sugar. Something that we have to learn right away when it comes to Canada. So I used a ChatGPT to kind of create the anecdote, and then I used a program called Love Voice to create the audio version of that. And I'm going to show you in a moment. A Love Voice can turn the text into voice. It has different varieties of English, and it has different accents. And I wasn't sure if my students will feel offended by that, but I wanted to give it a try. So I wanted to listen to one particular accent. And then when I played that with my class, I asked them, where do you think the student should be from? Is a student from a country like that sounds in this way? Let me just play it for a moment.
When I first arrived in Ontario, I wanted to feel Canadian, so I went to Tim Hortons for the first time. I proudly said, one double double, please, because I had heard everyone say that. The cashier smiled and asked, anything else? I panicked. I had no idea what anything else meant because she said it so fast. I froze, nodded, and said, yes. Even though I didn't know what I had read. A minute later, she gave me 2 coffees, a donut, and a confused look. I smiled to everything and thought, well, I guess this is breakfast now. Nah, I always listen carefully before I say yes.
What do you think? Is this what like a person would sound like? For listening activities, yes, and I will show you. They are supposed to be Arab. Yes, I am not going to mention the country. I will leave you, I will leave you guessing. But when I have different students, I mean, I always have students of different backgrounds, and I create a couple of different voices, and then I ask them to kind of discuss. Why do you think the chatbots thinks that this is what a person from that country sounds like? And yes, this is supposed to be an Arabic accent, but I don't know, maybe just a little bit, but it sounds a bit off, if you ask me.
When
Um, I can stop sharing for just a moment, and I wanna show you this um, Love Voice. You don't have to log in, but of course, with the free version, you're always limited with a couple of with a couple of voices. So I took part of my portfolio, and then when I scroll down, I can search from different varieties of English, and I can search for different languages. Like sometimes I have a lot of Arabic speaking students. Other classes, I have a lot of French speaking students, a lot of Farsi speaking students, right? A lot of Latinos. So I actually decide based on the a number of students. But if you want to just use that as just another version of the text, you can create, let's say, the audio version here, and I can select if I want the male or the female. Then it creates the audio.
I am a professor of English for academic purposes and adult education at Centennial College and Sheridan College in Ontario, Canada. I hold a doctorate in.
See, I think it does a very good job with English, but when you give it a try with another language, for example, do you want to try with Arabic or another language? Maybe let me know in the chat, or maybe open your mic.
Arabic. It would be perfect to use Arabic.
Arabic, it has a lot of countries.
Just let's do Fahad.
Okay, let's do Fahad. I don't think it will do a very good job, but let's see. but that will sound a little bit robotic.
I am a professor of English for academic purposes and adult education at Centennial College and Sheridan College in Ontario, Canada. I hold a doctorate in education from the University of Sheffield, UK, now in English studies.
See, it's not there yet. It's not perfect. They are working on it, but it does a very good job for English. Let's say if you don't have the audio version, yes, right. If you don't have,
Aid name, Aid Ahmed Luqman from Saudi Arabia, Arabic.
it's also not like I don't think it does a very good job. I have Hamid Azaria here, but it's fun, really. Like it's fun, and as you're doing that, it might you might think of something that works for your students. Another thing that I want to show you is with Google Gemini. So from the anecdote that you heard about double, its importance, and then if we focus on the audio, then I can I can create a mini activity. Have you tried Canvas on Google Gemini? It's very easy. So here under the plus sign, you will select Canvas, and what you can do is you can just type create an interactive app for, and then you give the level. I think it's called Canvas, Tom. Let me double check. When you go to Gemini, I just want to open a new tab here under Tools. Yes, it's Canvas. You will select Canvas, and then this can create an activity for your class in a matter of seconds. So I took some words from the anecdote here. I took some words from the anecdote, and I said I want my students to practice the meaning and the use of those words. So there were a couple of words that I think students might not know, like proudly, cashier, panicked, not, and confused. And then it created this this app, and I want to share it with you to actually give it a try and let me know what you think. In less than a minute, it came back. In less than a minute, it came back with a practice activity. Let me open it in another tab. So let's see what I'm talking about. Here. It looks like this. So first it comes back with the words, and then it has a story challenge. So it's like it creates a drop down menu with the vocabulary, so that your learners can check their understanding. And then there's a quick quiz, right? So you can actually do that while you're in class. If you feel that the students might benefit from just drilling a little bit more into the meaning of certain words, or maybe like give them a grammar practice, this is another tool that you can try, right? And I also want to show you one more tool. Have you ever heard of Mizu? Has anybody tried Mizu? Oops, sorry, I keep forgetting I have to share. Yes, here. This is Mizu. What is good for is that if you don't have the paid version of the chatbots, you can use Mizu to actually create your own chatbot. As I said, I'm not paying for any of the chatbots. So when you go to Mizu, when you log in with your account, you can quickly create a chatbot that is customized, that is personalized for your students and for their needs. You can opt for the AI generated, and you can you can type in the background information. What is it that you want your students to be working on, learning outcomes, and then kind of the grade level, and then it will come back with a chatbot. Or if you want, you can create your own chatbot. You can customize it. Here, when you go to custom, you can create your own. Oops, I don't know why it's not working. Let's try again. There we go. So here it asks you to put in a lot more information. So you have to give the chatbot a name, instructions, like you can say, act as a teacher, but don't give away the answers. Keep asking, guiding questions. You can put an image, you can put the name of that bot, and then you can share it with your learners. The only downside to Mizu is that it's a little bit slow, unfortunately. I have used it for when we're talking about the use of commas, random sentences and comma splices. So I actually created a chat bot for this purpose specifically. Um, I can share it in the chat if you want to give it a try. But you have to be patient. It is slow. Okay, so maybe take a moment and see if here. If you want to give it a try, and I will show you what it looks like. Right. So when the student receives the link, they will enter their name, let's say Ahmad, and they start the session here. And then it comes. See, the actual good thing is that the students can actually read and listen at the same time. They have to be patient. That's slow.
Welcome to the Comma and Clause Challenge. Let's sharpen your punctuation skills together. Please take a look at this sentence and find the errors.
I don't know if you can
The
hear
book
it.
which I borrowed from the library is fascinating, but I haven't
Yeah, okay.
finished it yet. What do you think needs correction?
Great. So it gives me the sentence, and I can say I don't know or I'm not sure. And then it doesn't come back with the answer, but it makes you think. It asks you concept checking questions. So it scaffolds your understanding. And here's this. You can certainly do that in ChatGPT and all of the other bots for sure. But if you want to customize like a bot just for a particular class on a particular grammar point, I think Mizu is your tool, right? And I also wanted to show you something else. Yes, Lukman?
Sorry to cut you off during the lecture. Well, it is suitable or beneficial for the primary level classroom management, like bridge teaching specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. See, when we start using different tools, we might get confused, but with time, I think it will fall into the right place. You will remember that, if I want to work on grammar, is that. If I want to create a formative assessment, is that. If I want to work on something else, is that tool. But don't overwhelm yourself. Like if you haven't tried with that many tools, I would suggest maybe starting with Google Gemini. I think Google Gemini does an amazing job already. And finally, I want to show you one other tool. Have you ever heard of naturalreaders.com? It's one of those tools that can turn text into voice. Once again, yes, great. So I'm going to use my portfolio. Sorry about that. And I can actually regulate the speed. If it is too fast or if too slow, you can create the voice. With the free version, you have some options here, but I always go for the one that is recommended. Let's say in this case is Adam, and it will turn this text into an audio.
I am a professor of English for academic purposes and adult education at Centennial College and Sheridan College in Ontario, Canada. I hold a doctorate in education from the University of Sheffield.
And what I like about it is that it also gives you the like the subtitles in a way. So for lower level learners, they think it's amazing that they can read and listen at the same time. there are a couple of exciting things that you can also try on your own, like voice cloning. I'm not sure if it is available for with the free version, but you can create your own voice. As a teacher, you can record your voice and then you can clone it. And you can also create two voices out of your own. It sounds a bit scary, but I never do that because my students are kind of already used to my voice a lot. So I want them to actually get exposed to something different. Okay, and I am cautious of time, so I just want to end the presentation with a couple of reminders. Also, with I ask my students to use it as a tutor, to practice receptive skills. But what is important is that when they are asking the bot to generate paragraphs or sentences, I always tell them one by one. Otherwise, the chatbot will come back with all of them at once, right? What I think is that you should always have a follow-up activity. I mean, the students are already using it in a way, but I want to see what their experience is. I want to see if they really understand how they can use it in a better way, right? And I want to create that meta awareness. I don't want them to think that this is something that can do the job for me, but actually it makes your job a little bit more challenging, because now we have to read, evaluate, and maybe synthesize and only take parts of the response that may work for your purpose. Towards the end of the semester, they will have worked with different prompts and different tools. So then I start talking about prompt engineering. I ask them to go back into their chat history and select a couple of prompts, and then enter those prompts into the same chatbot or maybe different chatbot, and ask the chatbot to say if their prompts are effective or if there is something that they should add to those prompts, right? And this creates a classroom discussion. Everybody shares what they learned as an effective prompt. And then I input their ideas. Sorry, yeah. I kind of input their ideas here into ChatGPT and I ask it to generate a table, and then I share it with my students, right? I should be doing that maybe at the beginning of the semester now that I'm thinking about this, because I think it's important that they have this as a reference, right? So maybe I shouldn't do that towards the end. But see, it's very important that you know where your students are in the AI literacy. So I would recommend that you send out an informal survey, anonymous survey, and ask them. Maybe have like an open session, like an informal session, and see what they're already doing with those technologies. So in this presentation, I've showed you some examples of classroom activities in terms of automation, augmentation, and agency. You can adapt, and of course you can create your own, because all of those activities have to be contextualized, right? Everything that we do is to help our learners. So there is not one size fits all approach here. But there's so much that we can do with that, and I just want to say that I think what we should be concerned about is not what the students are doing in our classes, but what they're doing after our class. Because when they're with us, they have more or less they are somehow controlled, right? But I think part of our job as educators is to create that awareness and to help them build those transferable skills, so that when they leave your class, they will feel just a bit more ready when they have to study with native speakers, or when they have to study with students who are more proficient in using computer sciences or maybe generative AI. And something that I would like to leave you with is I actually said that a lot in my presentations, and I still believe in those concepts. AI literacy is reflexive. It makes you take an introspective look. It makes you think about, who am I as educator? Why is this my teaching belief? Is there something that I would like to revisit about my teaching beliefs? It's a critical process. It always makes you question your choices. It always makes you think about, is this the best activity for my learners? Is this the best way that I can help my learners, right? And of course, pedagogical or sound pedagogical reasoning is what we should be doing. We shouldn't just introduce the tools to um, show off that we know them, but no, to they have to have a sound pedagogical reasoning. I think it also makes us think about who we are in the classroom, who our learners are, and what their learning needs are, right? And what I think we should all be doing as educators is how to collaborate with the learners. And this has been my approach in the past couple of years or so. So to end the presentation here, we have reflected on your learners' attitudes using generative AI. We talked about some of the barriers that might be relevant in your context to the implementation of AI. We talked about where we are currently in using AI in English language teaching contexts. We learned about one AI fluency and one AI literacy framework. And also we spent like a little bit more time kind of demonstrating some pedagogical approaches and also showing ideas for our classroom practices. These are some of the references that I have consulted. I am happy to share a copy of the presentation. The first one is the link that you already have to Anthropic. The second one is just an example for one of the colleges that I teach. They are guidelines for faculty. The third one is a lecture by two professors that are based in America, and I learned so much from them. The fourth one is actually my doctoral thesis. If you're interested, I focus on my own identity as an educator, and now it's even more relevant because when we're using the tools, we kind of assume a different professional identity. There's another framework that you may like. This is from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. I didn't mention it in this session because I didn't want to overwhelm you with frameworks, but it's something that I would encourage you to engage with. And also there is UNESCO's framework. There is one for teachers and one for students. I don't know if we have time, but even if we don't have time now, I would encourage you to kind of reflect which of the tools that I showed you and that you already know can serve what purpose. How do you rehumanize your teaching? And the rehumanization of teaching is something that I talk about, and it's kind of ironic that we had. We needed the machine to actually make us kind of rehumanize our classes. I don't think that we dehumanized our students, but with the machine, we can actually get reminded that we're working with humans. They all have different preferences. They all have experiences. They all have different neurodiversity and a speed of processing information. So when you give them a choice and an option, they can decide how much of that they want to use. If they want to opt out, that's perfectly fine, right? But they need to be aware what's available. And I think we as educators, we should be always learning, right? We should be learning even faster than our students, because I don't know in your context, but some of my students are very advanced, very, very advanced in in using those tools, right? Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. If you haven't connected with me yet on LinkedIn, I'm kind of active there, so I would love to connect. You've seen my webpage. If you want to drop me an email. Oh yes, and I want to end with something interesting by George Couros, who says. Technology will not replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformational. And I think that's why we are teachers, to transform the lives of our learners in one way or the other. So I want to leave you with that thought. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Sir, I just want to say a huge thank you for this awesome session. Thanks again for showing us how AI can do wonders. And now it's time for question and answer.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
I'm trying to catch up on all of the conversation. Sorry, I missed part of the conversation that was going on in the. This is such an active group, amazing people, amazing teachers. Any or maybe you can share like one key takeaway or something that you want to use right away tomorrow. Is there something that really stuck with you and that you would absolutely want to try it out?
Well, first of all, it's really an honor for me to be part of this, and it was really amazing and incredible sessions I ever had in my life. It was so full of knowledge and insightful session.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much for your insights and thanks for knowledge sharing here. And of course, we as a teacher trainer, we learn a lot of things. Like we'll be utilizing all these skills and we'll be applying in our classroom management specifically on international platform. So for my analysis concern, yeah, I will be definitely using natural reader and breast teaching to improve someone's pronunciation. Mostly here in Saudi Arabia, mostly we came across of Arabic students in class. They are having a lot of problem while teaching them in English. Right? They're having a lot of issues in language, which we call it a language barrier. So if we need to class be more practical, so this is going to be a great element and tool to apply inside the classroom management to make it more effective for them. So yeah, absolutely great. And it's an honor again to learn in depth. Thank you very much for having here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lukman. You actually reminded me, for Arabic speaking students is very interesting because Arabic has different dialects. So I have tried ChatGPT with the standard Arabic, which is Fusha, and I think it does a pretty good job. But I'll be curious, like maybe you can think about a project for your students that they can talk to ChatGPT in their own dialect and see if the chatbot can understand it. Because now in language pedagogy, we don't think of their first language as something that is a taboo. No, we know that the first languages can be actually quite helpful. So it really depends on your context, but I think it might help with the class dynamics, especially maybe at the beginning of the semester when you ask them to think about their own language and their own culture. I know that Arabic speaking students love poetry, so maybe they can prompt the chatbot in Arabic to write poetry. I'll be very curious to see how that goes, right? It's, the sky's the limit here.
Hi, Doctor. I hope you'll be
Hello.
fine.
Hello there. Hi.
First of all, I would like to say special thanks to every person who has participated in the charming, glowing, and wonderful opportunity from the Talent and TESOL Academy. And especially thanks to you for giving us honor and giving your valuable time for such a need of the time. This is the topic. We should, as a teacher, just you have said in the final CPT action plan, this is the main core and crux of your whole training, that we should select one of the tools presented first and then explain how we'll use it to augment your teaching performance, just like personalize your students' learning experience. This is the main thing I think. As a teacher, we should adopt it and we should practice it one by one so that we can learn it thoroughly. Thank you once again.
Um, Thank you so much. This is a very good reminder. There are so many tools out there that it can get overwhelming. If you're somebody like me, I love attending sessions, I love conferences, I love learning, and every session that I attend, I learn so much from other educators. But sometimes I feel that my brain is about to explode. There's so much, and I cannot think um, of a practical application right away. What I can suggest is on your Google Drive, maybe just create a document and start adding all of the tools that you're learning and try to categorize them into different purposes. This has helped me. And then I started with some of the tools that I liked, and then I started to think about which part of my lesson and it's really about taking baby steps. You don't have to change your pedagogy, not at all, but you want to think tomorrow, what is one baby step that I want to take, and I want to see my learners reactions, and then I want to reflect after the class. This is what we should be doing. Absolutely right. Yeah.
So we missed a question in comment section. You want to read it for
Any other questions or comments? I'm happy to take them up, or maybe we can extend that conversation after this session. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to, extend that conversation outside of this session. Absolutely.
So the question is, could you tell please which AI apps make the image alive and we can talk?
Good. I'm not prepared for that because I forgot the name of the tool. But if you give me a moment, I have used them a couple of times. Just a quick moment.
Yes, sir. Take your time, or you can share it in our group later.
I have used one tool. I haven't done that in a while, so forgive me for not remembering. Can you please send me an email, and I'm happy to, because I have a couple of tools, but unfortunately they run on credits. So once you create like a token image or like an avatar, and then you run out of credits, and then you have to start paying. And then you discover a couple of other tools that actually have like a little bit more of free credits. So can you please send me an email, and I'm happy to get back to you.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for that. I just, it's just my mind. Yeah.
No issues. You can tell us later about that.
Yeah.
If there is no any other question, can we wind up? If you have any question, you can unmute yourself.
Fazla, yes, I have a question for the trainer. So the
Yes.
session was just wonderful, and we have gathered here for new learning. And this is our 17th session you have already observed. So do you have any suggestions for this community, how we can build our professional skill in a more effective way? You were talking today about the AI, but apart from AI, we have a lot of things to learn from some pedagogical practice like CELTA or TEFL or TESOL. We have learned many things, but the platform is what is the purpose of this purpose of this platform was to gather teachers and share their knowledge with each other. So do you have any suggestion for us?
I can say a couple of things here. First of all, I don't know in your context, but in my context, I don't often get the opportunity to share with other teachers. I know that all of us are doing amazing work. I know that everybody's doing just a bit more or less with AI or maybe with different types of activities, but we don't have a platform to share, and maybe not everybody's willing to share openly what they do with their students. That's why I started with ChatGPT, and that's why I anthropomorphized it, and I considered it my friend, because ChatGPT is always there and it's always ready to listen. creating a platform or a space, whether synchronously or asynchronously, where we can post questions, where we can share feedback, and where we can learn from each other is what we should be doing, right? For your second question, what I think is that we have to start with our students, right? We have to start with their own learning needs. All of the certifications that I've done, such as CELTA and TEFL, I still use that methodology, but every class is a context. Every class is different. I'm biased because obviously I believe that we should be talking about AI, but I also appreciate the fact that not all of the teachers are equally excited. Also appreciate that not all teachers have access to that. Yesterday with Fazla, we spoke about different contexts when the students don't have access to technology. They have to leave their phones outside of the classroom, right? Or maybe they don't have internet. So I think we have to start with the students, and we have to see what their learning needs are. We have to ask them what their expectations of the class are, and this will shape our approach. I believe this will shape our pedagogical approaches. I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, thank you, sir. So I expect more sessions from you in future, if possible, because we are trying to learn from each other, and we are trying to share them and explore new things from our training and webinars. Also, we have a podcast, so I am also welcoming you to be a guest of our podcast as well, so that you can share your ideas over there. Okay, we have so many wonderful teachers here, and they are already Tahir sir have told you many things about this thing, and he has also provided us a session on emotional intelligence, or as I can remember, and that was a great session. So teachers are helping us. Also, teachers are helping each other. Since you are now the member of our community. So I will expect, as an organizer of this team, I'm expecting a very good suggestions time to time from you.
sure. Absolutely true. And if I can tell you just a little secret about me, I still think of myself as a non-tech person. Before COVID, I would attend a lot of conferences, and I would always escape from all of the technology related sessions. I have to be honest with you here, because I was researching teacher emotions. I was very interested about how positive emotions can impact and can actually shape our pedagogies. And then I started focusing, as part of my doctoral work, on identity, because I think that who we are as teachers and as educators is how we teach. A lot of our beliefs and our backgrounds, everything about us really is what makes us, the teacher that we are. But I'm also concerned that my students have to foster a literacy. I am working with students who are English learners, but after my class, they are going to join different programs, and they're going to study with Canadians. They are going to study with students who are more proficient in their A literacy. So I think it's my responsibility that I learn and I foster my A literacy. And then I think actively how I can I can teach them how to fish, really. Like, I don't want to give them the fish, but I want to teach them how to fish, so that when they leave our session, they know what is ethical and what is not when it comes to using generative AI. Yes. So it's another discussion that we may have. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Fadla. So it's over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I request you all to turn on your webcam so we can take some screenshots.
Thanks so much, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, everyone. Bye.